Let's begin simply. Need for Speed Underground 2 is simply one of the best racing games in the modern era of internet gaming. This is one of the best racing games the world has ever seen. There are tons of things to do in this game. Drive cars, obviously, either with yourself or by somebody, or with somebody. You could go online too, or at least that was something to do. And you can also customize the EA games tracks. For example, you can manage where things go. And so, but there's another thing that's also here. It's the customization. The customization of cars in the original game was what had brought a new audience of people who were not car enthusiasts. But they still had a lot of fun with this feature. I am a car enthusiast, so let's see how a game targeted towards nerds combines with a car enthusiast. We are going to do this by looking at the 10 most misportrayed cars in one of the best racing games since 1996. So the 10th most misportrayed car is the Audi A3. This car is given the same amount of power that the Audi TT has in this game. By the way, the Audi TT, the given power and torque of the Audi TT in this game is the exact same as it is in reality, and as far as performance goes, it is the only correct car in the game. Anyway, the Audi A3 is meant to feel like a TT because they have the same horsepower and torque. I have driven an Audi A3 over the course of my career, and it is my 10-star car. However, this car does not feel like an Audi TT. It feels just like a Volkswagen Golf GTI, which I will talk about later. It is also portrayed to be better than the RX-7. In real life, it still comes close, it just isn't better. I guess it's just a really powerful hatchback. Speaking of Mazdas, number 9 on this list is the Mazda RX-8. It doesn't have much to say for itself, but it is portrayed to be slightly worse than a Honda S2000. Yeah, I know the S2000 isn't in UG2, but when I made a list of the cars, I included the NFS 1 cars too. So anyway, it is slightly better. It's slightly better than a Honda S2000, really. Not slightly worse, as the game says. And because of this, it is at a similar level to the Mitsubishi Eclipse, seen here, which is not misportrayed. Number 8 on this list is the Toyota Trueno AE86 twin cam version, or the Toyota Corolla, if you guys are confused. This car from the 1980s is portrayed to be the worst car in the game, yet a lot of fun to drive, and EA is correct about this one. Apart from power release with the friggin' Peugeot 106 GTI, that was really weird. I just have one problem. In what world does any car that wasn't made for city traffic have less than 100 pounds per foot of torque? This is taking forever! Alright, well, while we wait. Okay, finally. So apparently, this has 96 torque, which makes no sense at all, and it has 112 horsepower, which is, in real life, the amount of torque it has. Either way, the EA is wrong on both the horsepower and torque. It has 15 more of each, in reality, but still. It is pretty far away from the likes of the Honda Civic and the Dodge Neon, which, yet again, is not mentioned in Underground 2, but I included it in the list of cars. Maybe I didn't need to cut here, but number 7, most misportrayed car, Mazda MX-5 Miata. First thing I want to get out of the way is the fact that they might have confused the second gen, as you're seeing here. They may have mixed up the second Gen MX-5 with the first Gen MX-5. Because, as you can see, this has flip-up headlights, and they may have made the first Gen MX-5 on the back, but at the front it's the second gen, for some reason. Now, (128 horsepower and 109 pounds-per-foot of torque is what is given to an MX-5 in Underground 2. That is what is in an original MX-5 and the Toyota Corolla AE86. The second gen Mazda MX-5 has 158 horsepower. Well, this is the Mazda Speed version we're looking at, but they are pretty darn close. There may not be any misportrayal at all of this car. They might have just mixed up the first gen with the second gen by making it first gen all the way through the back and second gen on the front. I don't know what the cockpit is supposed to be. What you're looking at here is the next car on our list, Volkswagen Golf GTI. This is customized to look like an experimental W12 concept. But this is next on our list. This is the one that comes atop of them all. This one is badged as a Golf GTI, and GTI means perfection in cornering. But the way they are portraying it is not very well at all. It's not really good. Either they got the facts from a boring, regular Volkswagen Golf, or the previous generation VR6 GTI, which was not badged as a Golf, it was just badged as a GTI, like Volkswagen GTI. The horsepower count is apparently less than 200. It really doesn't make much sense for the VR6 version of the Golf GTI, which has exactly 201 horsepower, just like the Volkswagen Jetta VR6 that you see here. It is the given amount of power from a GTI Mark III, seen here. But the amount of given power in a Volkswagen Golf GTI in this game is as much as a Sentra, for crying out loud, and less than a Hyundai Tucson or Tiburon, or if you're confused. This car has just as much power as a Honda S2000 does. Yet again, this car is not an UG2, but it was mentioned in the list of cars that I made. Alright, next.
Which one of these is your car?
Let's just add one more thing. This is a starter's car in the original Underground. So that means that all the non-enthusiast car people were taught that the Volkswagen Golf GTI is not very good. Yet it's an awesome piece of machinery. Come on, EA, stop misportraying this amazing hatchback. But guess what? The hatchback abuse continues. With our number 5 most misportrayed car is the Ford Focus. Seems like the developers weren't fond of the Ford Focus either, which is one of the Volkswagen Golf's big competitors. Now in Underground 1, this car was properly portrayed. You unlocked it after 6 races. But a Mitsubishi Lancer is unlocked before that. What the hell? In this game, it is treated like a Honda Civic, not a sporty hatchback. This guy has a terrible accent. The amount of given power in this car is 15. It is a whole lot less than what it is in real life, and both of these stats are inaccessible. Its power is very far off, about 40 down. Torque is 15 off. Because of this, it has less horsepower than the yet again unseen Dodge Neon, and what we are looking at here is the SVT version in this game. This is the SVT version of the Ford Focus, which is very much more powerful than what's given to this thing here. The Nissan 240SX is pretty much identical to the Ford Focus SVT that we talked about, and the Ford SVT also has as much power as a Toyota Celica SSI. This is the SSI Toyota Celica, which is aka the ruined Celica. Anyway, alright, I've had enough of this annoying misportrayal of hot hatchbacks. On to the next car. Number 4 on our list is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8th generation. Now we are starting to come into the unacceptable area of misportrayal. The Mitsubishi Lancer, along with the Subaru Impreza World Rallycross, are beasts. Both are rally bred, and what that means is they are the kind of cars made in partnership with rallyists. And they are brilliant in Japanese engineering. Both are among the top 5 most powerful Japanese cars in the game. Well, one is. Let's run this thing on the dyno. And let me show you what I mean by the misportrayal in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Apparently the Lancer is reported to have 272 horsepower. And that doesn't make much sense, really. Are these facts from a regular Mitsubishi Lancer or the Evolution version? Sounds like the Lancer to me. This car also has 270 torque. This is inappropriate. Really, it is inappropriate. I really don't understand at all. It should be 315 horsepower and 305 torque, which makes it the 5th best car in the game. Right. It brings it to the same level as the Nissan Skyline, and we'll get to that later. Either these facts came from a boring Mitsubishi Lancer ES, or it was supposed to be a Mercedes-Benz CLK 430, and it was mislabeled as a Lancer Evo. The Lancer has never had less horsepower than this car, the Impreza WRX. However, the Impreza is more famous for its rallycross success. And now we're coming down to the final 3. Number 3 on this list is the Pontiac GTO. Before we begin, I must say, this car should not be the NFS Underground 2 at all. Let's get to my GTO. Okay. There we go. Alright, this is my GTO. I must say that this car does not belong in NFS U2 at all. The reason why is that without any modifications, in real life, the GTO achieves what no other car in this game can do. Not even the 3000 GT or the Skyline R34. Now, in real life, it has 400 horsepower and torque, which makes it the most powerful car in NFS U2's selection of cars. It seems like EA is correct about this one. They just underestimated both counts of power. The game gives the GTO 349 horsepower, which is 30 more than the 3000 GT. The GTO also has 365 torques. Oops. And they sure have underestimated it, but it still is the most powerful car there is. Which is a perfect explanation for why Caleb uses one. I'm sorry to say this, but this is next on our list. Nissan Skyline GTR R34. This, when many people buy this game, they list the Skyline as their favorite car. But it was never released in North America, so we'll never know what it's actually like to drive one. Anyway, the Nissan Skyline is the most powerful Japanese car and the most beautiful sounding. Anyway, most powerful Japanese car in the game with 327 horsepower, when you think about it in real life. But when you consider its torque, which is 293, then it is no better than the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8. Or at least it should be that way. Okay. This car has 277 horsepower, which is at the same level as the intended Mercedes-Benz Steel K430, aka the Lancer Evo. Oops. This may be the worst torque misportrayal ever. 220 pounds per foot of torque. Putting this together, it's 497. That is less than what is given to a Nissan 350Z, or Fairlady for Japanese readers. The Datsun Fairlady, or the Fairlady was Nissan's, or actually Datsun's, most powerful car during the 1970s. But when Datsun were renamed, and the R30 came out, the Skyline took that position. Come on, EA, this isn't 1973. But that's just the beginning of the unacceptability. The horsepower and the torque put together of a Skyline is less than an Infiniti G35. Infiniti is owned by Nissan, and the G35 is the American branded version of the Skyline. In Japan, the G35 is called the Skyline 350 GT. The Skyline 350 GT succeeded the Skyline R34 that we are talking about here. But this is just insane. Who has ever lost a drag strip to when you're driving a Skyline, who has ever lost in a drag strip race against an Infiniti G35 or a Nissan 350Z? This is just inappropriate for the Nissan Skyline. Alright, that's done. So, after 9 cars misportrayed, which one is going to be the most misportrayed of them all? Okay, the Mustang was not misportrayed. Sorry about that. Give your guesses right now. Which one is it? Out of all these things that we have seen, which one is it going to be? It turns out it is the Toyota Supra as the most misportrayed car of them all. In this year, which is 2004, we have not seen anything from Japan that has come to be as competitive as the Toyota Supra. It has 320 brake horsepower and 315 torque, which puts it equal and, if not, above the mighty Mitsubishi 3000 GT, or Dodge Stealth. For Japanese readers, this is the Mitsubishi GTO. It's a good thing that Toyota didn't ruin the Supra in 2000 because it remained excellent after the Celica SSI. It's a good thing it wasn't ruined because in 2000 the Celica and this car, the MR2, which is advertised as the Japanese supercar, Celica and the MR2 were ruined in 2000 and lost their reputation, while the Supra remained excellent. Apparently this game is being very generous with this car because you unlock it after 6 Underground Racing League races. How kind. But after 9 cars misportrayed, this car is vulnerable to an incorrect personality attack. The point in career mode you unlock it might prove that this car has a terrible misportrayal. This brilliant car might have a terrible misportrayal. So let's see what happens. So we're going to select the car. We're going to So we're going to... Okay. So let's see what that is. What the heck is going on here? 225 brake horsepower and 210 pounds per foot of torque. That doesn't make any sense at all. Putting that together makes it just as powerful as a Lexus IS300, also known as the Toyota Altezza. But that was portrayed correctly, and this thing is a luxury car with a big engine to make it move. Now both the horsepower and the torque are off by 100, and that's probably because the developers mixed up the most basic numbers humans could ever understand. 2 and 3 are the first two prime numbers. 3 is the first digit in the horsepower and torque of a Supra in real life. How do game developers mix up 3 with 2 when they're an adult? Tell me, how does that even happen? Alright, let's calm down. Okay. Another terrible thing about this misportrayal is that with its given horsepower and torque and weight, it is slower than a Mazda RX-7, a car that wasn't misportrayed, a car with an excellent power-to-weight ratio, and something that isn't nearly as powerful as a Supra in reality. And also, slightly slower. Okay. You know what? Let's do an announcement. I've come to the back of my basement for this announcement. But I would like to see an indie developer re-release Need for Speed Underground 2. Just keep it the exact same game as the way it was before, only all of these misportrayals be removed. If there's going to be an indie game developer watching this, indie developers, please go to the Need for Speed Underground 2 files and change the facts about the cars mentioned to what they are in real life and make it the perfect tuner game. Thanks for watching this important video talking about the misportrayal of Need for Speed Underground 2 cars. Oh, one more thing. I strongly recommend that you do not use the cars that I mentioned in this video in your Need for Speed Underground 2 career mode. Because the way it feels to drive them in the game will not be the same as it feels to drive them in reality. And of course, I do know, and yes, I know that means no skyline. Relax, you've still got the Subaru Impreza and the Ford Mustang. You've also got the Ford Mustang too. You've also got the 3000 GT as well. You've got all of those cars to choose to use other than the Skyline. I know you can't use the Skyline anymore, but you've got all those cars to use. Once again, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment or click the like or subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.